What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the #1 live tuning show on all of YouTube in every known universe. We got some people in here. We got Rockroll, we got Jerry, Alex Cole, Marcelino, Brian, WS6 Handyman. Hello. There's Ryan, McElhenney, and Socrates. Give some people some time to trickle in since we fired it up a little bit early. Hey, Bill. Hey, Super Slow. What's going on? Hey, Andrew. Good to see you again. We weren't on last week, but you were on vacation the week before that. Hey, Heavy Chevy. It's been a busy week. All kinds of stuff. How's the water meth test? I've been busy this week, Socrates. Been doing the Super Auto. I got the axle back in today with the new brackets welded on and all kinds of fun stuff, and the 6L80 back in it. And I'm waiting on one part, and it's basically ready to go again. And interestingly enough, I recently started some new medication for my tremors to try and help out steady my hands, because my hands have gotten to the point where I'm having a hard time getting things done, and the medication slowed me down for a while, and I was struggling with that. But I'm over the hump, and I have risky plays. Yeah. I don't even know how to respond to you, bud. I'll go ahead and show it. I'll show it just so everybody can see what you're trying to say. So it slowed me down for a while, but I'm on the upswing. Everything still seems to be working out now. Okay, Keith. We will get together on it. What up, Danny? Why, thank you, WS6. Yeah, it's the last couple of years it's gotten progressively worse, so. Is that all you're going to say, Risky Plays? You're going to come in here, talk trash, be quiet? Have ever messed with SparkDwell? On certain platforms. Specifically, on the Terminator and the Holly stuff, you've got to really adjust SparkDwell out, but yeah, sure you are, bud. You must be one of Red Hot Supra, one of his buddies or something. Carl, jet on the way to work, just little misfires on the way home. We need to figure that out. What up, Jason N? You need to elaborate, Risky Plays, because nobody here has any clue what you're talking about. I didn't steal anybody's ideas. I find it fun. What, did I steal your idea? Is that what you're trying to say? Oh, Jason, that'd be cool. Yeah. Sloppy's a cool dude. He's got some great information out there and has been doing it so long. Hey, Jonathan. Tonight we are drinking a Hitchhiker Bane of Existence. My wife got me that last weekend, so I thought I'd have some. Grams per second is the only way to tune. You're a crazy man, Heavy Chevy. You're a crazy man. Diet Mountain Dew. Crazy. Easy up. While tuning this 05 GTO 6-liter with cam for everything, I couldn't figure out why I'm slowing down in gear. It defaults to 8 degrees of time. It's 6-speed, trying to change coast down. Nothing. That's interesting, super slow. I'm not sure why it would be going to 6 degrees because, or 8 degrees, because whenever you're on coast down, the timing normally advances quite a bit to keep it from getting burbling in the exhaust. Yeah, you know, it's not that strong, surprisingly. Bane of Existence is only like a 6.8, so. But, I mean, still, 6.8. If you have too many, yeah, it probably will be the bane of your existence. So hopefully tomorrow the Super Auto will be back on the road. I'm literally waiting on, you know, I got into a mode of where I was cleaning things out and got rid of one of the shift linkages. And, you know, that part I'm waiting on now. You know, that's what happens whenever I quit hoarding. I know we talked about this before. Can you remind me what the formula was for fuel injectors and turbo sizes? You know, it's going to be more on the amount of air. You know, the bigger turbo, obviously, the more fuel, but you're talking about whenever you double atmospheric pressure, you're doubling the amount of air, thus you double the amount of fuel. So just think about it. Every 15 psi, you need twice as much fuel as you need at naturally aspirated. Torque management was trying to add 10 degrees, but it was 8 period. Popping and crackling like crazy, yep. You should send me a copy of that tune, Super Slow. Curious on how high of a pulse width you're comfortable on a heavily modified LT4 and E30. That's 6 to 6.5 milliseconds. Mr. Schmidt had fixed the exhaust leak. Fuel trims are back to normal. Glad to hear it. One of your subscribers mentioned in the comments of one of your older videos about doing zone by zone VVE tuning tables. Then you stole it and started marketing it on your website. No, I didn't steal it. Nobody else was doing zone by zone VVE. And in fact, you can't even get it on the website anymore. Do your research, Risky Plays. I was the one that set up the initial filters for zone by zone tuning tables. So, yeah, burble tunes. Ugh. I mean, to each their own, just not for me. Yeah, you're done in here, bud. Sorry. This is an example of you stealing and profiting. Sorry, Risky Plays, but you don't know what you're talking about. If you actually went back into the videos and watched them, you would know that this is something I've talked about for a long time before I actually set up all of the filtering for zone by zone. And in fact, you know, we can just roll that stuff out. You want to be an asshole about it? Let's see here. We'll do this right now. Just to have some fun. Just to have some fun. I'll get to your questions here in a second, since this tool shed wants to be ruining everybody's night. So let's go to the forum. Let's go general. And let's do a new topic here. And let's attach some files in here just for some fun. Let's go documents, HP tuners, logs and tunes. And let's see here. What we got? What we got? What we got? We'll put JT zones in there. We'll put M sub zones in there because he won't care. What else we got? What else we got? We'll do some 3-bar zones. 1-bar pressure ratio zones. 1-bar map zones. Oh, here we go. 3-bar pressure ratio. 3-bar pressure ratio with AFRs. And how about a 3-bar? And then the original zones file. There you go. It's all free on the website. Go for it. Okay, where were we? Is E38 ECM really difficult? Do I need to research more? No, E38 is pretty straightforward. Have a question on MAF tuning using EQ error on Gen 4 platform. Have some logs where the commanded EQ is going into the mid-8s during heavier throttle. Bill, no, that you're in performance or power enrichment, and so the 0.8 is reflected on your wideband. Schmidt head, he's already banned. Yeah, I mean, as I said, if he had done his research, he would have known that I quit doing zone by zone for cell, and that I had actually done that video over a year before that happened, so that's why he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I hate when I do a tune. It's like a masterpiece, sounds great, everything great on dyno, then the customer asks for the damn purple. Alex Young, thank you, brother. Have a sweet, sweet purge. Wait a second. What'd I miss? What did I miss? Hold on a second. There's so much going on here. You guys are killing me. Ah, there's Joe Simpson. What's your version? What's your version on turbo non-intercooled E85 deals? I mean, at least you're running E85. Are you asking seriously? You guys posted a lot of crap. Now I'm just trying to catch up. I'm scrolling through back. Dude, free revs always sounds terrible on these things. On turbo car, getting misfires on part throttle idle, but no misses on full boost. I wouldn't think that your gap would be too small at 25, Eric. I mean, could it be plugs? Could you be getting pre-detonation or something like that? Okay, I'm done trying to catch up. What size meth nozzles do you normally use? Depends on the setup. Ran fine on 28. 28 should be fine. How much boost are you running, Eric? Depends on the meth nozzle size, what you're trying to accomplish. I've got 2s in the Super Auto, but I've got 8 too, so. About to do a big block turbo build for a customer and wanting to use Holly Terminator X. What issues and what would you suggest? You know, fun. I talked about, I did a video on it, and Joe probably backed me up on it. The Terminator X probably perfectly fine as long as you're not going crazy powerful on the thing. There's some benefits going over to something like a Dominator and HP, probably a Dominator, you know, because you got the extra IO on there. But I will be talking about the expansion CAN bus IO stuff here soon. Be interesting to see how that goes. Sometimes I get 30 extra horsepower for a client. They're like, meh. Then I do burbles and they go nuts. Is there any single way to raise max torque on a Gen 5? Seen so many ways. Some say virtual torque, some say VVE table. So Mike, the thing about it is virtual torque is calculated off the VVE table. So the VVE table has to be dialed in for the virtual torque values to be correct. Then you adjust your virtual torque values up. Can you go through the temp bias when tuning VVE? Listen, so Jonathan, technically you shouldn't have to adjust temp bias, but you have a temp bias that switches between IAT and engine coolant temp, and oftentimes as it tries to bias towards engine coolant temp, it causes some weird stuff to happen where your AFRs get off, and going towards IAT will solve some of that, except for whenever you're sitting around low idle. There's a reason why that temp bias is in there. Plugs are 2 steps colder, 20 to 21 PSI. Man, that sounds right, Eric, but it's weird that you're getting it in the mid-range. Whew, 280 degree air temp. I mean, that's what I would do. If you were going to do a turbo non-intercooler, I would at least do methanol injection, because I ran it like that with the supercharger for a while, and it was staying within like 20 of ambient. What up, TJ? Is DFCO absolutely necessary for drive cycles? As in turning it off? Jim, it's not. Just make sure you filter out data based off accelerator position to make sure that you're not getting that data in there, because you get funky data. Bernard, I'm not sure about the Varix mufflers, man. I'm probably one of the worst people to ask about exhaust, because I'm all about putting exhaust on because I don't like loud stuff. Something I'd like to learn since I deal with brand new Nissans. Start at the basics, super slow. Just understand how the protocol works, how the message formats are. Go from there. See my first driver demand reading in axle torque numbers today on the customer's 2018 Silverado. Yeah, a lot of the Camaros run on axle torque versus engine torque. It's a way to pause the log during VVE tuning to null out the hot idle stuff. Jonathan, set a filter up based off of your IATs. You know, you can set a filter up to say that you only want to look at data whenever your IATs are below a certain set point. Brad WK asks, is a 275, 277 cam for a Gen 3 too much for a boosted application? Well, in the words of Richard Holdner, every cam is a boosted cam. Just doing inspection readiness, Jim White says. Yeah, I don't know if DFCO will affect inspection readiness, to be honest with you, Jim. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't mess with catalytic efficiencies, though. Ambient air tip is not reading right. Sensor is probably bad. My muffler is my turbo. You mean your turbo is your muffler? When tuning math didn't get much higher than 9,000 hertz during logging. I take it in to get some higher throttle logs to complete tune. Instructions work on my part throttle driving. That's awesome, Bill. And yeah, I mean, you got to realize that all of that, like the amount of hertz that you're going to hit, is a math formula based off of intake diameter and stuff like that. So you may not hit that much higher. Man, all kinds of questions. Yes, HP Academy does seem to have courses on, or no, they do have courses on CAN bus. Might be a good place to start. I've not gone through them yet. Maybe I should. I'm always down to learn new stuff. ABT rockroll. So for complete drive cycles, set monitors, GM says DFCO needs to be activated. Set mine to stock, but it doesn't activate. You mean it's not going into DFCO? Richard's good stuff. We need to get him back on the channel. It's been a while since Richard's been on one of the live shows. In fact, it's been a while since I've talked to him. I used to talk to him about once a month or so. Dash Ambient Air is a separate... Well, it depends on the platform, Schmidhead. Sometimes that's a separate sensor. Yeah, TJ, one more credit. Be at 100. Bought a Snow Stage 2 kit for my Fortune TA. Curious if I need anything else for install. Also curious how I get up with you as I got your last spot in your Expert Tuner spot last month. WS6, you should have gotten an email for the Expert Tuner one showing you exactly how to set it up. Jonathan, I'm glad you reminded me on that. I need to do a video of the NOS bottle for the purge. Should you disable VE base temp corrections during VVE tuning? Listen, if it is not falling in line after a couple adjustments, then try disabling it. But leave it on at first. Jim, it does not go active. You got to have something else in there disabling it. There is about 6 different places that you can turn off DFCO. Check your speed settings, check all that stuff. Make sure all of that's lined out good. Change out the wonky O2 sensor during a live reading, 4 to 50. The other side stay around 60. Do I have an upstream link? No change during the live reading. Ooh. Hold on, I gotta think about that, Rick. Change out the wonky O2 sensor, no change during the live reading. 4 to 50. Are you talking about millivolts on this? Other side steady around 60. Shouldn't have a steady reading on your narrow bands. Put in a high-speed water pump for the supercharger intercooler. Better intake temps. What were you working on, Bernard? Real tuning problem. I did new update. My wrench and lightning bolt icons are not showing on my files. Are you saying on your files itself or on the shortcut links for the software? Because that happens every time I update. Oh, crap. That reminds me. Hold on a second. I'm going to go out and grab the latest beta. There's something I want to show you guys. It's super cool. I mean, it's super cool to me. Some of you guys will think this is cool. Let me go ahead and start this download. And it's done. Let me do the install here. This is cool. Just got a new tablet, and there is a new tab. Okay. Talks amongst yourself while I install this. File association problem if your wrenches are not showing up properly. Why is this taking so long? There we go. Okay, now it's installing. Do you jack up the knock retard settings as a baseline before doing logs? Both my tuners raised mine even though I have no knock retard. Even the transient was raised to the point of disable on my OT4. I lowered it. No, Ben, I do not. I like to leave it in place because it is a safety. If something goes terribly wrong on something else and you run lean for some reason, it's not a bad idea to have that thing in there protecting your butt. Now, if you're getting into a lot of knock while you're doing fuel tuning and you're not running lean, you might need to go in there and lower your timing some. You know, it is what it is. Okay, I'm going to try and find one of these crazy VE table tunes, because this is specifically what I want to look at, show you guys, because I'm guessing most of you have not seen this. I think, let me see here, maybe Jerry has one of these. Okay. This is so cool. So, okay, we got tune screen open on here. This is Jerry's setup. Let's take a look. Sorry, Jerry, I'm not trying to show your VIN number on this. 2012 Camaro. This one has the OS patched in for the VVE. And whenever you open these up, it creates these new tables. And these things are wonky because the RPMs are down on the left-hand side and the manifold air pressures across the top, which is completely backwards. And so if you look at the graph, which this one needs to be smoothed. Sorry, Jerry. This is me. This is not Jerry. This is me. But if you look at the graph, everything's backwards. Well, the HP Tuners added this in the latest beta where you can now invert tables. And so it closes it out, and whenever you open it back up, and it'll tell you the table is inverted, but now the RPMs are across the top and the manifold absolute pressures on the left side. So I think maybe the third gen GTOs, maybe? Same ordeal. Manifold air pressure across the top, engine RPM on the left. You can now invert it and make it look like a normal volumetric efficiency table. And it's so simple, but it's so amazing. I love it. Because it makes a little bit more sense in this format if you're kind of thinking of the curve of max airflow, at least to me, because you get so used to looking at third gens, fourth gens, and stuff like that, and then you get one of these weird platforms that has it inverted, and it's just a head scratcher. So it's crazy, and I don't understand why it's taking them so long to do that. Okay, I'm sorry, I probably missed some questions. It's the simple things in life that makes us happy. Yeah, grab the latest beta. It just came out in the last week. I had an LT4 converted LT1 that was retarding like 9 degrees from the moment I went wide open throttle to the moment I let go from the throttle. So I just had to jack it up to finish tuning. Socrates, I'm guessing you're talking about virtual torque. Or knock retard settings. Just make sure that, you know, specifically on the later generation LT1, LT4 platform, stuff like that, that you're disabling burst knock and that static cylinder crap that's on there. Yeah, it's you know, I said small things in life. And I was doing something the other day, and I was sitting there, I was like, man, I hate the way that these are laid out. And I was like, wait a second, invert table. And so I literally uninstalled the beta and went back to one of the previous beta installs that I had to verify that it was something that was just new that was out. 3.5 EcoBoost on E85. What should my wide open throttle lambda be? 0.85 to 0.87, depending on how much boost. The more boost, the closer to 0.85, maybe even a little bit richer than that. But 0.85 is going to be a great starting point. Too many settings bring back points and carbs. Get rid of all the knock sensors, call it weight reduction. Oh, by the way, if you guys do go over to the forum at GoatRoadGarage.com and you mess with the VVE zone stuff and set it up for your platform, do everybody else a favor and post a copy of your tune with the zones and the new filter point set up, so other people can benefit from the data. Have a P59 and an 01 Firebird so I can run 3-bar at flex fuel, but the VE table is super low res. If the P59, even with the 3-bar patch on, it's low res. Is that the one that stacks it in? Technically, no, it's not going to be a problem, Jake, because it's going to interpolate in between the cells that you can't see. And then you've also got to remember, as long as you still have the mass airflow sensor in there, during dynamic airflow, the mass airflow sensor is doing most of the lifting. Volumetric efficiency is really just there for transient and maybe low RPM stuff. But other than that, there you go. Socrates says the 4-cylinders one's like 0.80. So maybe it likes to be a little bit richer on the EcoBoost. You see any value in adding a fuel pressure sensor to the fuel rail and read it in HP tuners? I mean, data is data. I mean, you should already have, well, your fuel rail pressure should be your line pressure, Jerry. You should be fine just reading line pressure. With boost 0.750, that's super rich. 0.8 is port injection goal. 0.85 is going to be direct injection boosted goal. Will Rash Coyote turn work on a Turbo Coyote running around the same boost? Redline, no way for me to tell, man. Like, without having to look at the tune, theoretically, if all the parts were the same, it would be pretty close and it would give you a chance to get there. Cynthia AEM out. And what kind of scaling milliseconds can I get from the wideband input through direct OBD? You're going to be limited by the OBD parameter, or, the OBD bus, the speed that CAN bus runs on, which is 500 kilobits per second. I mean, I've ran the Super Auto out to 0.87 without any issues, but that's also direct injected. You can run direct injected a little bit leaner because whenever you're injected into the cylinder, it helps to cool the cylinders down, which lowers the cylinder pressure. So you can run a little bit leaner. Ben, where can I get a pre-tune from a Charger GT 2018? What are you doing to it, Ben? The Dodge stuff's pretty easy if you just put it over into volumetric efficiency mode and disable neural networking. It works just like a GM. No, Brad, I actually traded the Sting in on the Z06 and because it was worth too much money. Like, after I bought the GT350, like a couple months later, it was worth like $7,000 more than I paid for it because they went up so much in value. DI turbo should have 0.80 during peak torque. I don't know about all that, Eric. You're probably a little bit too rich on DI if you're running 0.80. I don't know that that's going to get you peak torque. You got to remember that whenever you're going into power enrichment, something like that, the primary focus of that is to control cylinder temperatures to prevent pre-detonation. You're already got the additional fueling in there because of the additional air that you've gotten, that you've pushed in there by boosting. So any additional fueling on top of that is more of a detriment. Even easier with the neural net if only with only bolt-ons. Correct. But as soon as you go boosted on those things, the neural net gets a little bit wonky. I've not dived into doing the neural net stuff. On the Dodge platform. Doing neural net on the GM right now. And it's been not bad. Well, no pistons like heat, But you got to look at the fact that I've ran 20 PSI on a stock bottom M53 L83 and didn't have any issues until I put 40 degrees of timing into it and shut all the fuel off. That's whenever, yeah, I know, Bernard. Breaks my heart that the Holdens aren't made anymore because I really liked all the Holdens that they imported up here. Read a Ford Motorcraft Turbo article about diagnostics and tips, and the scanning software being used was the HP Tuner scanner. Very interesting, Jeff. I'll have to look that up. Well, the GTOs out here were the Moneros, and I had a GTO back in the day, and I absolutely loved it. Done a couple of 900 horsepower Trackhawks, and they work great on neural networking if you have the correct injector data. What, Socrates, elaborate what you had to do beyond the correct injector data. Did you have to, go through and do the neural network training and all that stuff? Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, if you throw a link on the forum, man, I'll check it out. I appreciate that. PPVs, yeah, that's another one. PPV is the Commodore. You didn't have to do anything because we put in on Justin's setup with the supercharger. We had the injector data from, I can't remember there's too many injector companies nowadays. But it came with a full spreadsheet of injector data, and we plugged that in. It would not run on neural network to save its life. Yeah, Scuba Sam, I'll get to that tomorrow. Sorry, man. I actually swapped out phones, and so I'm a little bit behind on emails this week. I'm still trying to figure it out. No cam. No, it was basically stock motor, just put the supercharger on. It did not run worth a crap with it on neural networking, which I was surprised because, as I said, we did plug in. It was what's the expensive place that does injectors? Fuel Injector Clinic. Maybe. Let me see. I'll be able to tell if I see their logo. Yeah, it was Fuel Injector Clinic. So. What should the NAP AFR numbers be around? Start at 0.85, lean it out, make sure you don't get any knock. So 12.5 to 12.7, 8.5 to 8.7, around there. Start there. As long as you don't try to do flex fuel stuff, works great. Okay. We may have to try it again. Granted, okay, I'm not going to get into the story, but there's been some other stuff on there, Socrates, that may have been causing basically a misfire situation that may have been causing some faulty AFR readings. Okay, listen, it's 8:34, everybody. I've been underneath the truck all day. I probably got scratches and bruises on my arms and stuff like that. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. I want to thank everybody for stopping by the live show, except for the guy that I had to ban because he was a total asshat. Risky Plays. Congratulations, Risky Plays. You've made it to the list of all 3 people that have ever been banned on my channel out of 55,000. 3 people out of 55,000. You're officially famous. Your name will never be used again. Appreciate everybody stopping in on a Thursday night. You guys know the drill. And dude, literally, he's the first person that's ever been banned on the live show. And one of the other people is Voldemort from the Harry Potter movies. I had to ban Voldemort. So, but you guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by. Wait a second. Craig Sigafu says, hello, I have a 6th gen Camaro with the P1X. Bone stock 1168. 60 foot. That's getting it. 1120. 126 add headers. And an LT2 intake and meth. Now my 60 footer mid 175s. But flying at 1090. At 131. How can I get my 60 foot better? Well, okay, Craig, that's way too much information to unpack. Show up next Thursday. Let's talk about this, Craig. Show up next Thursday. Let's talk about, because that's a lot to unpack. But airflow dynamics may have changed, and you might not be creating as much torque on the bottom end because of the intake and headers. So, but Socrates is right. Get a new converter. She won't. Okay, I'm going to bed, everybody. ABT, always be tuning. end screen.